Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's edition of our Thrive webinar series. Today, we have the pleasure of being joined by Kelly Carlin. Am I pronouncing that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, who's based in Los Angeles and has some really interesting stuff to share with us. Welcome, Kelly.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Kelly. So, Kelly, you were just saying that you teach a regular workshop on Zoom. Could you tell us a little more about that and what it's all about?
Yeah, I teach something called Sunday Unplug, and I've been doing it a little over a year. And it was motivated last year. After the 2016 election cycle, I had spent the summer away from social media in the summer of 2016 and got a lot out of it. And then came back on, and the election was crazy, and it was just so overwhelming with the amount of news and beyond 24/7 news cycle. It's just insane these days. And if you're on social media, it's insane on steroids. And I just felt very overwhelmed by everything. And I really knew that there was a need for people to learn how to balance the amount of input happening. And so I wanted to use the 20 years of experience I have with Buddhism and mindfulness, Zen Buddhism and mindfulness, Vipassana stuff, and help people take a break once a week, and then maybe actually encourage them to have a daily practice also, so that they could do this for themselves every day. And so I started teaching in the summer of last year, 2017, and it's been great. It's pretty consistent. It's like 3 or 4 Sundays a month, and I bring a lot to it. I have not only over 20 years of meditating and Buddhist study with Thich Nhat Hanh and Genpo Roshi and a bunch of people under my belt, but I also have my master's in Jungian psychology from Pacifica. So I have a lot, and I'm also a certified and trained life coach from CTI. So I've got all of this expertise and all this way of holding the space for people. And so I really thought, I think the world needs me. And so I started showing up on Sundays on Zoom. And if people are interested, and they go to my Patreon page, where you can sign up for it. And it's great. We do 20 minutes of meditation, and then I'll do a little talk about something. Sometimes it's about mindfulness. Sometimes it's about other kinds of aspects of self-care. Sometimes it's about the science of meditation. Sometimes it's about, doing a guided experience of some kind, or just talking about what it takes to live a life full of meaning and depth, and one where we feel like we're sort of in charge, as much as we can be in charge. I'm an artist, I'm a storyteller, and a writer and a performer also. And so I use a lot of that kind of stuff, my creativity and, what I know about that stuff, to kind of help people connect to, what is this journey? What is the life that they want to create? And we have a lot of fun. I am a Carlin, which means I do say sometimes dirty words, because my dad was George Carlin, the comedian. And so we have fun with that. And it's very loose, very laid back. It's not very uptight. It's not austere at all. But I always try to bring some depth and soul and teach people how to hit the big pause button on their life.
And what does it mean to unplug?
Yeah, unplugging these days is a pretty physical thing, actually, practically. We're practically plugged in, like our bodies are practically plugged in at this point. These things go everywhere with us.
Right.
So it is about letting your mind get off the grid. I think the last 10 years, some of us, I know I hadn't until the summer of 2016, when I walked away from social media and had such a profound experience, because I would lose my phone for hours and hours in my house. I wouldn't even know where it was. It was such a magical thing. So I think since these smartphones came along, they are designed to make our brains attached to them and habitually attached to them in a very Pavlovian way. So I really want to bring awareness to just that fact that this thing being in your hand all the time is probably not having the most interesting life you could be having. There's a lot going on outside of your phone. And then helping people with the anxiety around putting their phone down. Because once you get attached to an object, it's like a cigarette or it's like anything else. It becomes part of your dopamine loop and it becomes part of your self-soothing. So you get a little anxious, you get a little depressed. Oh, I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to go into it and I'm going to feel better. So I want to help people using mindfulness techniques and meditation techniques to learn that you can breathe your way through your anxiety, that you can learn to meet those places that bring discomfort up in a new way. And boy, you could go outside and look at a tree or go and have a lunch or a conversation with someone without your phone being involved for hours and hours, and just feeling again, what does that feel like to be really connected in your body, in the moment, in the world as it is beyond the cyber world.
So I find this extremely interesting. Personally, I also took a year and I said, for this year, I'm not going to watch TV or do the social media or the smartphones. And it was an amazing experience. So I'm wondering, what did you find in that year where you also put it away?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I missed that last question. The computer went.
What did you find in that year when you got off social media? You said it was wonderful. Could you tell us a little more about that experience?
Yeah, it was, I did it for a season. I did it for a summer, and I found like I had a lot more space in my life and more time in my life. There was a luxury to things. There was a lack of pressure feeling. Like, that's the only way I can really one of the first reliefs was that well, first of all, the first 10 days, I kept picking up my phone, and like I would look at it and I would go, why am I looking at my phone? Like, it was the weirdest thing. And then I was like, oh, that's right, because I'm addicted to it. And so I found that there was just this, I could read the newspaper and get enough news to understand what was going on in the world. There was no pressure to have an opinion about everything every 15 seconds. Like, I could just I could hear the news, hear a controversy or something, and then be like, take a week to process it and maybe think about all the different aspects and perspectives that might have gone on to like making my mind up about this thing, instead of like thinking, oh my God, I have to like have an opinion right away because everyone else has an opinion right now. And it was also great for me because at that time I had been spending a lot of time in the spotlight and talking a lot about my dad, and I just been promoting and released my memoir. And so it was really the first time in 8 years after my dad's death that I actually got to be without him. And so it gave me a time to start really personally grieving and missing him on some level, because on social media, there was no missing him. People were inundating me with him all day long. And I didn't even realize how traumatizing that was, which is a very particular situation for me. But I want to say, for the ordinary person, if you're being bombarded by all this information and on social media being bombarded by people in a panic and a lot of fear all the time, which is really all that's out there, it's very traumatizing. And so I found that my adrenals, I felt like my whole body relaxed on a level that I hadn't been relaxed in a very long time.
Wow, that's amazing. for communities that want to be engaged, that want to be active, and at the same time not overwhelmed by this, how do you strike that balance?
It's a great question, and I think this is the big question for all of us. And so what I would say is, and what I tell people is, you can read the headlines twice a day and be informed. You can drill down on an article and be informed. I think when we get only our news via social media, there's a there's a there's a there's a quickening of it that's unnecessary. So I would say, if you're on social media and you want to use it, really be careful who you follow. Who about that? How are they feeding you? What are they feeding you? Are they feeding you a lot of the same information in kind of a panicked kind of way? Or is there more thoughtful discussion? Is there room for longer conversations? And maybe look into reading longer, bigger articles in magazines and newspapers where you can get some interesting, especially if you've got a particular issue that you're very committed to, then know who know who they are, the people who source that for you, and feel free to be in that. But make sure also that you are doing some self-care, that you are pausing, that you have some time in the day, whatever your practice is. If it's meditation, if it's martial arts, if it's yoga, if it's hiking, if it's getting on a bicycle and going for 2 hours, whatever it is, make sure you find is pace, and let your own mind and your own imagination work. Another part of doing lately is really to there.
Hello, Kelly. Hello. Hello. Hi, Kelly. Just testing if you're there.
Are you streaming video?
Hi, Kelly.
Oh, okay. So then, obviously, my whole thing just died. All right, I'm back. Thanks. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened.
No worries, no worries. I can cut that out.
So what I was saying was that if you're only receiving information, your problem-solving skills aren't going to be. You're not going to have enough room to be creative enough to do real problem solving. So you have to give your mind not only a pausing rest of like nothing, like, really nothing, whether it's meditation or yoga or something like that, but also time to like daydream and wander and dream and vision and all of that. Because if you are an activist or you're part of a community that's trying to move the ball forward on this planet in some way, you need time to play.
And that's a great point, Kelly. What do you mean by time to play? What does it mean to play in this serious modern world? What is the value of play?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I think that, I don't know I think we're forgetting how to play on some level, and so it could mean anything. It could mean, just playing as in, just hanging out with friends and being silly and having fun, or finding some more organized way to play, whether it's sports or improvisation or doing craft work. Also, I was at a retreat a few weeks ago and we did mask making, and it was incredible because we all were like, why aren't we doing like something like this all the time? Because when you're in the mode of creativity and you're playing, you don't know how things are going to go, but you're trying things. It's it's that big improvisational thing, like, oh, I'll try this, does that feel right, does that work? No. And maybe you're not a drawer or you're not a painter or you're anything, but you can always doodle. You can always get a paintbrush out and get a piece of paper and just play and make. And there's, remember when we were all 3 and we used to finger paint? Wouldn't that be the best therapy ever? Maybe we should start that at the Art of Living. Finger painting weekends.
It would be amazing.
Wouldn't it?
Yeah. And one thing, Kelly, I love that you're bringing to the table is there's just so much life and vivacity and enthusiasm behind this. So even behind the idea of play or rest, so much aliveness. One thing really looking forward to, Kelly, is a great upcoming workshop on put down your phone, pick up your life. And I just see there's going to be a lot of this aliveness in there and a lot of chances to rest and play and disconnect in a much needed way to connect with what really matters, what Kelly's been sharing with us. And that's in November. Mark your calendars. There's a link in the comment section too. Kelly, before we wind up, did you want to guide us through an experience?
Yeah, sure. I'd love to do a little active imagination with everyone today. Yeah. So this is really simple. If you would just everyone sit and get comfy, and as you would sit if you were going to sit into some meditation or something. Not too comfortable so you don't doze off, but comfortable enough so you can relax a little bit. And go ahead and close your eyes and let yourself come back into your body and into your breathing, just noticing the pace of your breath. And maybe taking a big, deep breath in. And a big, deep out. And then one other big, deep breath in. And out. And let yourself sink into a comfortable place. And then imagine yourself in a location, in a landscape. One that you either know of in your life or one that just comes to you now spontaneously in your mind's eye. And if you're a person who doesn't imagine with visuals, don't worry about this. Just let yourself feel what it would feel like to be in a place that relaxes you naturally, a place that you feel safe in. For me, it's a deck on my friend's cabin up in the mountains where I just love to sit and look at the trees and listen to the trees and the wind and the birds. So wherever this place is, whether you can see it or you can feel it, let yourself be there in this space and hear the sounds. Maybe you can feel the sense, the temperature, or the wind. Might be a small breeze on you. Maybe you can smell something. Maybe there are flowers or pine trees or some other kind of flora about. Just let your whole sensory experience, as much as you can. Don't try. You don't have to effort this. But let yourself at least imagine that you are in a different world than the one that you're sitting in right now. And one that's natural and supports you, knows how to keep you safe, and makes you feel alive. And then notice wherever you are that there is a path, some sort of a path. Maybe you don't see it, but you sense it, or maybe you see it clearly. And let yourself follow the path. And maybe there's some winding to this path, or you're going through a different kind of a landscape. Maybe it's rocky now, or mountainous, or it's down near a river. Whatever it is, let yourself follow the path. And then at some point in the path up ahead, you see that you can't see where it goes. It's going to go around a corner of some kind. And let yourself follow the path around that corner. And then see that there in the distance, just a bit of a distance, there's a dwelling of some sort. Notice the dwelling. Notice what it's made of. Is it all natural, or is it hand-built? Is it part of the landscape, or was it created by a human hand? Just notice the shape of it and the color and what it looks like. And then approach the door of this dwelling. And know that behind this dwelling is someone very important to you. It's a mentor, someone you look up to, someone you're inspired by. Maybe by me just speaking these words, you know who it is, and maybe you won't know until this door opens. But either way, it's perfectly fine. And knock on the door. And as the door opens, you see the face of this person, or maybe actually another creature. Could be an animal, could be some sort of being, a god or a goddess, of course. And know that this being, this person, is here to support you. And you go into their dwelling. They offer you a little cup of tea. And you sit down and just take in the experience of being in the presence of this great mentor, teacher, hero, heroine of yours. Notice what it feels like to be in their presence. Look around the space that they occupy of this dwelling. Notice the colors, how it's furnished. Maybe there's some objects around that you can see. And this being, this person knows you so well, knows of you, knows your life, knows your wins and losses, knows your struggles, knows your achievements. They know your whole story. They've been watching it all along. And just feel what it's like to be in their presence, knowing that this guide is here, all-knowing. And in this moment, you have a chance to bring up an issue or ask a question about some aspect of your life, something that you feel stuck with, blocked, something that you've been maybe overthinking, stuck in your head about, can't quite find your heart in it, can't find your inner compass. And let yourself explain to this being, this person, a bit about it, even though they are all knowing. Just it's important that you bring it to their attention in this moment. And of course, you see the person or the being nodding, understanding. They get it. And ask them a question about this situation. Some place where you need some guidance. And let them answer you. Maybe it's a word. Maybe it's an image. Maybe it's a sensation you get. Doesn't matter how the exchange happens. It's just that there feels that there's a connection and some exchange happening. Maybe this thing that they give you, this image or this answer or whatever it is, makes no sense to you. That's okay. Just let it be. And then you both sit there quietly with each other. And the wise one asks if there's anything else. Let them know if there is. And then let the wise one reply. And once again, maybe it's a word. Maybe it's a gesture. An image. Or maybe they hand you an object. And let yourself thank this being, this creature, this wise one for their time. And know that this being is always here for you. They're always just a heartbeat away. And thank them for their time and take one last sip of tea, one last look around the space. Find your way to the door. Maybe there's an embrace or an exchange of some kind there. And then let yourself find your way back to the path. Noticing if anything looks different or feels different as you make your way back to the original spot. Whether you're seeing this or just sensing it, does not matter. Sense your way back to your original spot. And then bring yourself back here into this space, feeling your body on the cushion or chair, your feet on the ground. Taking a big, deep breath in to this space. And as I count to 3, you are coming back here to this space. 1, feeling more of your body here and more awake. 2, opening your eyes. 3, and being more present. And so what I recommend is taking a little time right now with a journal, piece of paper, pen, and recording your images, whatever they were. It does not matter, even if it was just you staying in the first spot you were, or the path, or the encounter. And letting yourself just spend a little time here. And I would recommend, even if this really felt like something deep for you and connecting for you, to make it a part of your daily practice, allowing this encounter or this conversation with the wise one to be a part of how you prepare yourself for your day, reminding yourself that there are many within us that are here and have our back and are part of our wise counsel. So well done, and thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. That was very beautiful. Thank you, everyone, for joining us here today. And also recommend, if you'd like to learn more, you can search on our website or click that link in the comment section to learn more about Kelly's awesome upcoming workshop. Put down your phone, pick up your life. Great chance to spend more time with Kelly and her humor and wisdom. And thank you, Kelly, for joining us tonight.
My pleasure. It's so wonderful to connect with you. And I look forward to coming to North Carolina. I've never been. I look forward to spending time at this beautiful center and meeting people from North Carolina and all over the area, and just, being a part of community. It's always such a pleasure.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place and a beautiful time of year in the fall.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, definitely.
And have a great week ahead, everyone, and look forward to seeing you on our next episode.